Alright everyone, this is the last thing we are going to do for today, the last thing we need to learn. And the goal for this last part is to take expressions like this and evaluate or simplify them using the order of operations. Okay? There are several words that might be confusing, so let's talk about them real quick. The first word is to evaluate. Evaluate just means to find the one number for the answer, and I'll show you what that looks like later on. The second thing that we need to know is to simplify. When we talk about simplifying an expression like this, simplify means make it look simpler or easier to understand. And as we do number one, you'll see what I mean exactly. Okay? Now, I know it's very tempting to whatever I write on here to just copy it down right away. But I'm asking you to just watch and listen first, and then we'll pause this video at the end of number one so that you have time to copy it. The reason is sometimes when we multitask, it's hard to pay attention, and then you miss important information if you're writing things down while I'm trying to talk. So that's why just pay attention first and do the writing later, okay? Now, we need to know how to actually evaluate or simplify this expression, okay? So the first thing we need to do is we need to use our order of operations to help us, okay? So let's go through the steps, okay? Step one says we need to use parentheses, okay? Let me say that better. Step one is to do anything that's inside parentheses, okay? So looking at this expression, do you see anything inside parentheses? Well, right now, I don't see any parentheses, okay? So we are done with step one, okay? Now let's look at step two. Step two says, do anything that's in exponents. So do you see anything with exponents? Yes, I do. I see exponents right over here. So let me try to... Alright, so let's see if... Okay, so here are exponents right here. And so we are going to do this first. So I'm going to draw an arrow, okay, to show that we are doing this first. So the first thing we need to do is 3 to the second power. This is not 3 times 2. That's what a lot of people make mistakes on. This is not 3 times 2. In fact, this is 2 3's that we are going to multiply. So it looks like this. And we know that 3 times 3 is 9. So one thing I like doing is doing my scratch work on the side. And so we are going to take this 3 to the second power and just change it to a 9. Okay. And then one thing that I forgot is that when we do order of operations, it's best to do one change at a time. One change at a time, all right? Because if you do too many changes at one time, a lot of times people mess up, okay? I've seen a lot of people mess up. All right, so since we are only doing one change at a time, we're going to just keep everything else the same. Meaning, just bring down your 11, copy and bring down your 11, copy and bring down the plus sign. We'll do that later. And copy and bring down the 9. And also copy and bring down the division sign. Again, I only did one change at a time. I only changed 3 to the second power to 9. Okay? And now let's continue. So now we're on our next line, and now the next thing we need to do is, okay, we did exponents. The next thing we need to do is do any multiplying or dividing going from left to right. Right here, I see division and I see addition, but I'm going to do division first, okay? So division is next. So now I'm going to draw an arrow again to show that I'm doing only 9 divided by 9. I know that 9 divided by 9 is just 1, so this whole thing now becomes a 1. And again, I'm only doing one change at a time. So I'm not going to add 11 plus 9 yet, okay? In fact, that 9 is already gone. So bring down our 11, copy and bring down 11, copy and bring down the plus sign. So now this new expression is 11 plus 1. And now the last step is to add. Okay. And now I'm just going to do 11 plus 1. And 11 plus 1 is just 12. Okay. And now I'll put a box to show you that this is my final answer. And to show you that I actually evaluated because I only have one number as my answer. And I actually simplified it too because, look, I made it look simpler because it's just 12 now. And I made it easier to understand because now it's just 12 when we started, right after we started with this expression, okay? So we made it simpler as we went on, okay? So that's how you evaluate and you simplify. Do it step by step, one change at a time. Do your work on the side, okay? And just use these steps, okay? So now we're going to stop right here. We're going to stop this video and give you a little bit of time to copy this down before we do number 2 together. Okay, so we'll pause right here. Okay, now let's try number 2. Number 2 looks like this, okay? And now we're going to simplify this expression and use the order of operations to do that. Okay, and each time I'm going to write equal signs on the side to show you that these are equivalent expressions. All right, first things first, let's look at step 1. Step 1 of order of operations says to do parentheses. Okay, so to do anything inside parentheses. So I see a 5 minus 3, and I'm going to draw an arrow like that. And we'll do 5 take away 3. 5 take away 3 is just 2. So I'll draw parentheses. I don't know if I like that 2 very much. I'll just copy it from here. So 5 take away 3 is now just 2. And look what I'm doing. I'm still keeping those parentheses because that'll be useful for later. Okay. Again, one change at a time. So I am going to copy and bring down the 4. Copy and bring down the third power. Copy and bring down the minus sign. Copy and bring down the 3. I copied and brought down the parentheses. I'm going to copy and bring down the plus and the 2. Okay. So now here's our new expression. Next step. Do I see any exponents? Yes, I do. I see exponents right here. So now I'm going to draw an arrow to show that I'm doing this next. Okay. 4 to the third power. Don't confuse this with 4 times 3. It's the same thing as 4 times 4 times another 4. Okay. Now I did the math here already. 4 times 4 times another 4 is just 64. Okay. So I'm going to change 4 to the third power to 64. Again, one change at a time. So I'm going to bring down the minus sign. I'm going to bring down the 3 with the parentheses. Here's the parentheses. I'm going to copy and bring down the 2. Copy and bring down another parentheses. And I'm going to copy and bring down the plus and the 2. Okay, some of you might be wondering like, isn't this parentheses? I mean, yes it is, but you also need to look at what this means. This actually means 3 times 2, okay? So this is actually multiplication. And multiplication is our next step. So again, I'm going to draw arrows to show my audience that I'm doing 3 times 2 next. And you should be doing that too on your paper later. So I know that 3 times 2 is 6. 3 groups of 2. Okay, remember we said parentheses was groups. So this is going to be 64. So again, one change at a time. 64. So copy and bring down 64. Copy and bring down the minus. Copy and bring down the plus. And copy and bring down the 2. This is actually one of my favorite examples because there's a really important thing to remember as you're doing order of operations, okay? And it comes in this next step right here when we're adding and subtracting. Remember, it says add and subtract from left to right, okay? It does not mean, for those of you who remember PEMDAS, it doesn't mean that addition goes first all the time before subtraction, okay? Just because the A goes first before S in this acronym, it doesn't mean addition always goes first, okay? Because of this rule, okay? Yes, we do add and subtract, but we always start on the left, okay? So looking at this example, yes, I see addition and subtraction, but we always start on the left, okay? So we are not doing 6 plus 2 first. We are not doing it 6 plus 2 first. We are doing 64 take away 6 first. So 64 take away 6, again, you could do that work on the side. That is 58. And again, one change at a time. So copy and bring down the plus sign. Copy and bring down the 2. Okay, now we have 58 plus 2, and 58 plus 2 is just 60. And we are officially done. So again, here's me taking this complicated expression and evaluating it to make it one answer or one number for the answer. And we're simplifying it to make it easier to understand. So that is the work that you're being asked to do. Make sure you put equal signs on the side. Make sure you're drawing arrows so that it's easy to go back and check your work and say, oh my goodness, this is what I did. This is where I might have messed up on, okay? So track down your steps, use those arrows, and do your work on the side, okay? And don't forget your order of operations. All right, good luck with that work.